All right, I am calling the meeting of the Strategic Planning Committee, June 15, 2021 to order. A physical quorum of the members is not present. However, pursuant to Section 7E of the Open Meetings Act, members are permitted to attend remotely. Either one member of the committee, the chief administrative officer, or chief legal counsel are physically present at the regular meeting location. In-person attendance and public comments are allowed, subject to attendance limitations required to ensure the health and safety of those who attend. Pursuant to the Illinois Attorney General guidance to public bodies on the Open Meetings Act during COVID-19 pandemic, county board members may participate without being physically present in compliance with the established provisions. Can we get a call to order? Welcome, member Garcia. Do you want to do a roll call of, let's do a roll call to allow the people who are attending remotely.
That's not necessary.
We're not necessary.
Not necessary. Physical.
Okay, well, that's not, okay. That's fine. Can we get a roll call, please? Okay.
Not a second. How many members are here physically?
There's 3 people.
Yeah, I was going to say. It's not necessary to vote to allow them to attend remotely. Just simply take a roll call and begin.
Okay, let's take a roll call. Okay.
All right. Chair Colbert.
Here.
Member DeCiani.
Here.
Member Hart. Member LaPlante.
Here.
Member Rutledge.
Here.
All right. We have 2 participating remotely and 2 are physically present.
Okay, and we also welcome member Paula Garcia, and we also welcome member Dessert to the meeting.
Excellent.
All right. Okay, do we have any public comment?
Chair, we have no public comment at this meeting.
Okay, moving on to chairwoman remarks. I welcome you to this committee. We have been very active with the Strategic Planning Committee. However, the purpose of today's meeting will be an overview of, we're going to have a presentation from Jason today on our fiscal year 2020 strategic initiatives end of the year report. And we're going to be voting on 2 informational items today to receive and place on file. So those are the only agenda items we have today. It will be a relatively short meeting, but this is necessary. We're supposed to have quarterly meetings to go over and vote on this specific business. So I am going to move on to approval of minutes. I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the Strategic Planning Committee meeting notes from Tuesday, February 16, 2021.
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second, DeCiani.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and that is approved. Moving on to informational. Jason, would you like to take it away with item A?
Oh, there is no roll call on the motion to approve the minutes. So we actually have to do a roll call
it's
on that real quick.
Tuesday. I'm sorry. Okay. Can we get a roll call, please?
Feels like
Yes,
I
absolutely.
know.
Approval of minutes. Member Rutledge moved. Your vote, please.
Aye.
Aye. There you are. Member DeCiani.
Aye.
Member LaPlante.
Aye.
And Chair Colbert.
Aye.
Aye.
See,
All
this is an
approved.
issue when we have quarterly meetings instead of weekly meetings. All right. Okay, and the minutes are approved. Moving on to informational, item A and B, I will hand it over to Jason to present on these items. And then after the presentation, we will vote to approve them.
Thank you very much, Chair Colbert. Give me 2 seconds to real quick pull this
Of
up.
course, take your time.
I'm not going to move the actual implementation summary around unless you guys have a specific question about it, but I want to talk about them overall a little bit. I won't dive too deep in as committees have presented, or I'm sorry, different departments have committed to their parent committee. So I'm going to kind of touch on a few of the ones that maybe don't get to share theirs as much, such as the county board office. So with the year end, fiscal year 2020 was a different year for most, obviously with COVID-19 pandemic. At the start of the year, we had lofty goals of what we wanted to do and where we wanted to be as a county. However, everything changed come March of last year. So our departments were fantastic and pivoted very importantly to containing and helping the community with the COVID-19 pandemic. A prime example of that is the care center. They completely shifted from, getting your family, everything like that, to, okay, how do we prevent or save keep our residents healthy and safe? So that was a huge shift for them, and that was not on their strategic goals for last year. Combating a COVID-19 pandemic, and I don't think any of our counties. I mean, you can also look at the IT department where we switched entirely to online meetings. We can go department by department and see exactly that the initial initiatives that they may have said last year definitely didn't always align with what we had to do. So we were great as a team, though, and as a county to come together and be able to accomplish as much as we did. This year-end report shows some of that, but a couple I'll just point out are just some of the county board ones, as most of them have already pointed out to their parent committees. But if you have questions about it, feel free to ask as we go along. The first one for the county board was continuing combating the county's heroin crisis by working with local officials and community partners. We considered with that Hope Task Force $100,000 grant that the board allocated. As we know, during COVID-19, this initiative became even more relevant, and we're going to continue this into FY21. And that's due to isolation and the mental health crisis that we saw going on last year with isolation and due to COVID as a whole. The next county board one moving in is educate residents about county services and initiatives impacting their quality of life, development, specific public awareness, community outreach initiatives based on county strategic plan and department objectives. This is kind of housed in our communications department division of the county board. And last year you saw a lot of reach, 58.6% increase in reach in Facebook, 16% increase in Twitter. Social media component became very essential last year for communication methods, as everybody was on social media more, as we kind of saw. So this was a great way to also work with the U.S. Census and getting some of that information out. As we know, last year, the Complete Count Committee, which was housed in this committee, they met to get the census numbers up, which obviously we still don't have a final report on that yet due to the fact that the census numbers have not been released. Again, I think we're expecting something late September for that census, to where we can also do a report for you all on that, but that's not in this initiative because we don't have information, so I couldn't come up with that for you guys. But so overall, very good year for communication. Another one is continue to apply the ACT initiative principles to county government and their appointed agencies. The report was received for the county clerk and recorder's office merging, as well as the working group on the size of the county board published a final report was done. So that was done in the last year. And then the final two for county board out of initiatives is the engaging community partners to disseminate county messaging, reach out to all cultures, to those whom English is secondary language, create effective communication outreach to communities who may benefit county programs and services. Again, it's in the communications, they were able to continue the messaging and with COVID-19 for the health department, as well as with the Complete Count Committee. And the final one is continue to seek diverse candidates for county appointed agencies to ensure everybody has an opportunity to represent their community. We've worked with various different community interest groups throughout the county. A couple were named in here, and outreach will be continuing as to find additional leaders and individuals to serve on these committees. Last year it was with not meeting in person, you didn't get to actually build relationships with individuals, but this year as we're moving forward and opening up, myself and Cheryl will continue to look in those to these various groups, and I'm going to try attending more of those meetings too, so I can get some insight in meeting some of these individuals. That's what I had on the year-end report. Did you have any questions about the year-end? This, again, every department's committed or submitted to parent committees. I didn't want to reiterate things that most of you have all heard, but any questions about this before I go into looking forward?
Does anyone have any questions?
Great job.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that wonderful report.
Okay, then if no objection, I'm going to move on to the FY21 strategic initiatives. I know it's June, but we did these a while ago. This is just the first time we've been able to get together for this meeting. So the county board office itself has come up with 1, 2, 3, four initiatives for this year. The first one is, the continuation of promoting county initiatives, events, services, and opportunities impacting residents' quality of life through proactive multimedia information and awareness campaigns designed to reach residents through several channels. In the outlook, we're continuing to talk with our community partners, municipal communications, increased distribution of newsletters, leveraging more media partnerships, both locally, regionally, and nationally, to increase messaging distribution. Trying to paraphrase here, I don't want to read everything to y'all. I know you have this in your backup. But they're going to continue to track media coverage and social media outreach and pieces that include the county wherever it may be. Is there, Evan or Joan, do you have anything you want to add to that one, or is that pretty?
Happy to take questions.
So I have a question, just expounding more upon that. In which departments are we going to have more media? Is it going to be a specific focus?
Well, I'll give you an example. For instance, in HHS today, we heard how our efforts have resulted in something like $23 million in rental assistance aid being applied for. So that's an area that, as these federal programs and the ARPA money comes through HHS, that'll be a continuing area of focus, of course, because Mary's got money coming through that department that she needs to get out the door. And I envision in the year ahead that being a real area of focus. In addition, as you know, we heard in economic development this morning that there was conversation about a Reinvest DuPage program ramping back up. That's an extremely popular program, and all of you as board members, I'm sure, have been contacted by a small business or several dozens of small businesses looking for aid. And that, I get calls still from the previous press releases of last year from small businesses looking for direction and aid. So I think ARPA pretty well sets our course, at least in the first half of the year. And then, our biggest story from last year came from Animal Services with the dog reuniting with its owners. So anything from Animal Services is good for us. They get tons of awareness. So if you want to have a program that's successful, put a dog on the brochure. It'll get done.
Or bunnies too, even.
Yeah, exactly. Rabbits. We've had, Animal Services stories always rank highly. So, our challenge is, of course, keeping up with the social media and the media. But for the most part, I think that we have been able to successfully leverage it, and we will continue to learn new things about new media, new techniques. We try to stay on top of it. I've been trying to leverage more video, and on we go.
All right, and highlighting our great work at the county.
That's our job. Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
Initiative number 2, continue the implementation of the ACT initiative throughout DuPage County and the state. Last year with COVID, everybody again was looking at, okay, how can we protect our residents and this? So it was, wouldn't say paused, but it wasn't as relevant. It was more the immediate crisis at hand. And this year, as we're coming out of COVID-19 with, more opening and recovering and figuring it out, this is a great time where I think we're going to try to open that dialogue and say what shared services, what other things can occur that we can maybe all work together. And maybe we've noticed from COVID-19, and I think the pandemic, though horrible, may have given some government agencies a moment to pause and say, okay, where are we at, and where do we need to go forward? So looking at that, so this will be one of those. We'll continue to work with state legislators in Springfield, allowing more consolidation of services, as well as working with the intergovernmental committee and finding out those initiatives or any of those services that maybe our county as a whole would like to work a little bit closer on. So that's our second one. Any questions to that one? Cheryl, anything you want to add to that?
No, Member Garcia is co-chair of intergovernmental, and I think what the IT department has done in terms of marketing their services and GIS services to municipalities has been really beneficial. And I think that's a good venue to continue to push, shared service opportunities. Absolutely.
Agreed.
I would like to add to that. So out of strategic planning, out of this committee, we have an ad hoc committee called Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And what we're working on is I, along with co-chair Chavez, we co-chair this committee, and it's combining strategic planning with economic development to enforce and implement our diversity inclusion imperative and give it teeth. So currently what we are working on right now, it's in the initial phases, is we're trying to expand opportunities for small businesses and minority-owned businesses. So right now, we're working on the low-hanging fruits of, contracts with 35,000 and under. Because we are home rule, we're not allowed to have contracts over that amount for businesses. So we are we're in the process of hiring a consultant to do a disparity study, which will take about a year and a half to do to get our data in place. But that's the phase that we are at right now, and it will take time. It won't happen overnight, but we are, as a county, working on expanding these great economic opportunities to various communities out there to help them.
So I think actually Street Initiative 3, I think Pigeon Tails exactly.
I'm sorry.
off of that. No.
You had two, and I just jumped in.
No, I think that's great. No, this is wonderful. Promote inclusivity by building upon existing initiatives and expanding opportunity for people seeking employment, vendor contracts, educational opportunities, and appointments within DuPage County. So I think that spot on to where you're going with that. And I don't have to reiterate it. It's everything that you just said. So
thank you. And I think you covered a lot. The strategic planning committee has done a lot of work. We passed the diversity inclusion here. That was the first thing we did. And then we created a census complete count committee. And I'm expecting great numbers. Our response rate that I heard was phenomenal, higher than the states. And now we have this ad hoc diversity and commission committee. So there's a lot of great things coming out of this strategic planning committee. And I'm really excited that it's just so active. And we've had race relations series through this committee, and we have gotten to know so many different communities. So I'm really excited about the direction we're headed in with this committee. And I'm very excited working with all of you in just moving our county forward.
This is member DeCiani speaking. To member Covert's point, we're also with the diversity inclusion. We are addressing those disparities with people with disabilities too. So in fact, this morning in economic development, we talked about having our job fair this fall to help people with disabilities and help employers that are open to people with disabilities seek employment and hopefully attain employment. So member Covert's remarks are spot on, but I also wanted to mention that we're adding, that we're including those with disabilities as part of those, and that the ad hoc that we've got going as well. So, and naturally with that, we also cover Black, Brown, autism and Down syndrome and all the disabilities. The developmental disabilities do not discriminate on race or creed. So we've got plenty of folks that are minority disabilities as well included in those, but often people with disabilities are left out, and we want to make sure that that's all inclusive as well. So thank you.
Absolutely, Vice Chair DeCiani. Thank you for adding that. Thank you for adding that. Go ahead, Jason. I don't want to.
Perfect. No, you're fine. So the fourth initiative we have is coordinate internally the distribution of federal dollars received in May of 2021 under the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, and deliver assistance to individuals and business impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. I think we all know this is going to be a very large thing for us this year, just much like the CARES Act was last year. It's getting through the process of allocating and providing, obviously, for the next 4 years. So I have a feeling this initiative will be around for a couple of years, not just this year, as we figure out how do we come out of COVID-19 pandemic as a county and as a people. So those are the 4 initiatives for the county board office. Was there anything specific you guys would maybe like me to go over, anything along those lines, or any questions for? And ARPA, just so you guys know, that won't just be a county board. Obviously, finance department, big picture. It's a little bit of everybody.
Yes, Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Covert. Jason, do you want to give a little bit of an expansion on the census numbers and the redistricting committee and what that timeline is going to kind of look like?
So currently, the redistricting Okay, let me start with the census. We'll start with the census because that's what happened first. Last year, obviously, we had the census. April 1 was the census day. In the past year, they've gone through, tried getting the data and whatnot. The Census Bureau has indicated in 50 states, here's the amount of individuals within your state, but they haven't broken it down to the core numbers yet, or the redistricting numbers as it's known as, or the PL 94 numbers. So the expectation is, though they were supposed to have these numbers for us this March, we are 6 months delayed from that at least. They're gonna have what's called the legacy data, which is it's the raw number. It's not the tables, it's not the easily ones where we can just read it and everything's happy. The raw legacy data will be available August 20 something, it's late August. And then the final census numbers, which is what most people have seen, would be in late September. So that's the expectation of them being delivered. And that's when we can actually look at more, okay, here's what we did for the complete count committee, here's what we got population. We can get those final numbers and make it a little bit more solid. Moving from the census though, you know, that determines everything for redistricting, is that person or individual data. So the redistricting committee can sit down and say, okay, let's draw these districts in whichever fashion it might be or decided, and how do we get it so everybody has an equal amount of representation. So when that data comes out, we'll be able to have a little bit more, and the omnibus election bill wasn't signed by the governor yet, right? It hasn't even been sent to his desk. So as of right now, technically our timeline is still the end of this month. I'm hopeful that's not going to be the case. I think that'll be the case, but we should have until December 31st for the new redistricting numbers, or to get the maps instituted. So it pushes us back a bit, which is good. And then also that's when we'll change the primary deadline as well as the start of petitions. I think petitions are January 12th or 13th, something like that. And then the primary will be in June. So that's how all this census affects everything. And it's I think a lot of people think, oh, okay, we did the census, we're done. That's not the case. It's a much larger thing that impacts everything. And you know, we'll also be seeing with the census for CDBG numbers I mean, there's various things throughout the county. It's based on census numbers. So I once we get that, I think it'll be a good, clear image for us. Is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm on
checking.
redistricting. I thought it was a
Yeah,
good thing to
that's
just
fine.
kind of reiterate where we're at.
Did I miss anything?
Nope, I think you did good.
Had to talk about it enough. Sometimes I forget a
That's
step.
right. Yeah.
Remember Rutledge was on the complete count committee as well, so. All right, any other questions or discussion? Okay, well, all right, I entertain a motion to receive and place on file the FY20 strategic initiatives end of year report. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussions? All right, let's get a roll call.
Alrighty. Member Rutledge?
Aye.
Member DeCiani?
Aye.
Member LaPlante?
Aye.
And Chair Covert?
Aye.
Aye. All ayes.
All right, that passes. And moving on to 6B, I entertain a motion to receive and place on file FY21 strategic initiatives. Any question, a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any questions or discussions? All right, seeing none. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, who was the member that moved?
I was.
You, Sheila. Okay, thank you. All right, Member Rutledge
Aye.
and Member DeCiani.
Aye.
Member LaPlante,
Aye.
Chair Covert.
Aye. All right, moving on to old business. Do we have any old business? All right, do we have any new business? All right, hearing none, seeing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Do we need a roll call on this, or do you want?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a roll call.
All right, roll call vote on adjournment. Member Rutledge,
Aye.
Member LaPlante,
Aye.
Member DeCiani,
Aye.
Chair Colbert.
Aye. Great meeting, guys. Thank you so much. All right, have a good week.
That was a little longer than my 10 minutes, sorry.